Good evening, I'm Antoine Allen. Now the main headlines in London. Unarmed and shot dead by a police officer. The killing of black man Chris Cabot during a police stop led to protests and his family's repeated calls for open justice. They want the public to know the name of the officer that pulled the trigger. Today, a judge ruled the Metropolitan firearms officer, formerly only allowed to be known as NX121, will be named from next year before his murder trial begins. The Met say the decision will be hugely concerning to his colleagues. Mahathir Pasha explains. Tomorrow is expected to be another dark chapter in the scandal-ridden Metropolitan Police due to the publication of a detailed review into the nation's biggest police force. Leaks of the Casey report allegedly say the Met has serious issues of racism, sexism and homophobia with a failure to change. But even on the eve of that report, the scandals keep coming. Tonight, new Freedom of Information figures obtained by the Liberal Democrats revealed that more than 100 officers are being investigated for sexual misconduct and are continuing to work as normal within the force without restrictions. But these officers wanted to speak without that. They wanted to speak in a way that was uncensored, able to literally tell their truth. And at first it was the racism that they faced or seen within the Met, but from there it became a discussion of the culture of misogyny and sexual abuse and those allegations. And what they say is the Met Federation, are playing their part in supporting or enabling wrongdoing. Now, we went to the Met Fed and they denied all those claims and they feel like they support all officers, but there has to be a reason why all of these bad apples are able to stay within the Met.
Amazing.
During their decades of working for the Met, both officers have seen the 1999 Stephen Lawrence inquiry to last year's Browness Casey report. They say the unfulfilled promises of institutional change have left a heavy toll on their mental health.
I nearly killed myself as a result of discrimination. You know, the shock.
Antoine, it's just shocking to hear these officers' accounts. Extraordinarily brave of them to speak to you.
So when it comes to the actual Met themselves, they've said that there's no room for racism and there's no room for misogyny, and they'd encourage these officers to speak directly to them. But the reason that they spoke to me is because they could speak without being edited, and they actually want more officers to come out across the country to share their stories to help bring about change. Just 2 years old and left next to a bin by his mother. That could have been the end of Paul Connolly's story, but 60 years later he's been reunited with a half-brother he never knew he had on ITV's Long Lost Family. Daniel Henry went to hear his remarkable tale. Another flat fire suggests lessons still haven't been learned since the Grenfell Tower fire. 6 years ago, this Wednesday, 72 people lost their lives in an apartment fire that was supposed to be a watershed moment for fire safety. But last week, a fire in Croydon ripped through a block of 80 flats. Residents say 2 years they've been raising fire safety concerns with their management, with one letter sent days before flames destroyed homes. Rags Martel spoke to people afraid this fire won't be the last. Well, Garen, a train can't do a U-turn, but the government can. Last month, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said that closing ticket offices was the right thing to do for the British public and British taxpayers. Today, Transport Secretary Mark Harper told train operators to withdraw that proposal to close those same ticket offices in order to meet high passenger standards. The decision to keep ticket offices open has been called a victory by the RMT union, and disabled passengers had threatened legal action against the planned closures. Campaign group Transport for All hopes today sets a precedent in considering accessibility needs.
We think this should really mark a sea change in the way that accessibility is considered by government.
Thank you, Sally. Now, it was a best-selling novel, a blockbuster movie, but now The Time Traveller's Wife is taking to the stage. The show comes to the Apollo Theatre later this year, complete with all new original music written by Grammy Award winners Joss Stone and Dave Stewart. Rehearsals are already in full swing. Our reporter Daniel Henry went for a look and a listen. There's a new king at Queen's and he aims to reign at Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz won his first grass court title yesterday, and in the process, the 20-year-old Spaniard became world #1. He spoke to Rags Martel. Finally, Arsenal, known for playing in red, wore all white for their No More Red serious youth violence campaign during the third round of the FA Cup. After a tight first half, the North London club defeated Oxford United 3-0. 2 goals from Londoner Eddie Nketiah booked their place in the fourth round of the FA Cup, where the Gunners will travel to their Premier League rivals, Manchester City. Arsenal are currently top of the Premier League. Their Croydon-born attacker Emile Smith-Rowe told me he hopes to end Arsenal's near 19-year wait for the Premier League title.
For the club you support as well, that would be probably the best feeling ever, you know. And my dad's a Tottenham fan as well, so that would make me even more happy. But
lots of people have come here today to look at the stage where there's dancing, the celebrations and their speeches. But I'm here with historian Patrick Vernon, one of the people that's been campaigning for the Windrush generation to be acknowledged and helped by the government due to that hostile policy. Patrick, now the government say they've given £62 million worth of compensation to those affected by the Windrush scandal. Is that enough?
Money is never enough to compensate for the losses.
Well, Patrick, thank you for your time. Of course, today is a day of celebration, and I'm sure anyone that comes down to Brixton Square will be thinking of that scandal, but also enjoying the generation that helped change Britain to what it is today. At the height of the pandemic and the lockdown, it was the food provided by community farms like this that helped to fill the gap left by empty shelves at the big superstores. But when it comes to Sutton Community Farm, they provide more than simply food boxes. It's a place where volunteers can come and feel like they too can grow food but also make friends. Now, Gay's been coming here for 13 years. Why is this farm so important?
It's really become a great source of fresh and organic